right, we're all set. So, welcome to the Buckeye Business Builders Monthly Lunch and Learn. I'm Kent Eiler with Eiler Networking and Computing, and we're hosting this event. This is going to be something we do the first Thursday of every month, and we also have a recording of this event available on our YouTube channel, which I put in our chat window. So our mission at Buckeye Business Builders is to cultivate a dynamic and supportive business community in Northeast Ohio. We're committed to connecting local professionals, fostering valuable relationships, and providing opportunities for growth and success. Through networking, collaboration, and education, we aim to empower businesses and contribute to the economy vitality of our region. So we meet the second and fourth Tuesday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Northern Ohio Business Center, which is at 5224 Cobblestone Road, Sheffield Village, and which is right across the parking lot from Sam's Club. If you would like to attend, we'd love to have you there. Just please fill out our contact form on our website. That address is bbbng.org, which stands for Buckeye Business Builders Networking Group. And let us know your name, company name, and what business category we'd like to fill. We'll give you all the address information and times as well. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our presenter today. His name is Brian Pritchard with Crumbl Cookies, and Brian will be explaining innovative ways that he's gone beyond the corporate franchise playbook to drive revenue for the partner organizations that they work with. Specifically, how fundraising efforts, both in the public and private space, can be enhanced with a little creativity. Brian has spent the last 10 years helping businesses grow as a consultant, driving recruiting, sales, and marketing initiatives. Most recently, he has invested as a partner in 6 local Crumbl Cookie franchise locations. So, Brian, go ahead and take it away. One thing I would like to add, if you do have any questions, post them in the chat group, and as soon as Brian's done, I'll go through and ask those questions for Brian to answer.
Thank you. No, Kent, I appreciate the introduction. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about my world a little bit. And I always try to make a point in terms of any attendees who are, whether they're watching live or come to it after the fact, if there was something specific, information-wise that you were hoping to get out of the presentation, to certainly, put that in the chat or put it in the comments, on YouTube, even if it's after the fact, so we can get to it. What I wanted to do ultimately was give a little bit of an overview of the brand and itself, and then, as Kent mentioned there, talk about some of the ways that move beyond the franchise model to try to get creative. So, am I able to share my slides, sir? There we go. There I am. So, yes, a little bit about Crumbl Cookie. It is a national brand based out of Utah, and Nate Tullett, who I work with and work for, opened up the first Crumbls here in the state of Ohio. The Avon store, I live in Avon Lake. That's my local store. Was the first, and
Hey, Brian,
yes.
We're not seeing the presentation. Can you go ahead and share that again?
Okay, let me go back.
I want to make sure that we can see that.
I'm not seeing your a button to do anything. Should I just hit share at the bottom?
Yeah, click on share at the bottom again.
Got it. Sorry. Okay. And then how about now?
There we go. Now we can see it.
Now you see pictures of pretty cookies. What makes us different, better, and special as a brand is that we make our cookies fresh every day. These are very labor intensive, very lovingly prepared, and everything is made in store. When people hear about franchise or whatever, that isn't always the case. And it very much is. We are a cookie factory that is sitting there making dough from scratch and baking the cookies, and everything is again labor intensive and lovingly prepared, as they say. We also rotate our flavors every week, so it's an interesting factor because some people come in and try something for the first time and don't understand that that's what we're doing, and then they'll come back confused the next week, and it's like, what happened to the cornbread cookie or the Twix cookie or any of the things. But we like that aspect that it keeps things fresh and exciting. When I was just a customer of Crumbl, I followed along and kind of played that game. That I would sit there on Sunday nights as they were announcing the new flavors online, and wait for that 8 o'clock announcement to be like, ooh, what's coming. But yeah, we have a high quality product, and we can be adaptable to fit almost every occasion. I joke around with a lot of the people that I do business with, especially when I'm talking about like concession stands and bake sale tables, that a lot of our competitors in the franchise fundraising space, I talk to a lot of people, and Chipotle comes up a lot, Chick-fil-A comes up a lot, stuff like that. And my joke is I like Chipotle as a consumer, but for fundraising purposes, like a steak burrito is not a one size fits all in terms of occasions. It doesn't suit every event, right? That a grandma going to the orchestra concert at the high school isn't gonna grab a steak burrito or a chicken sandwich necessarily and go take it to their seat in the way that our cookies come in these nice, pretty pink boxes and easy to transport and stuff like that. Somebody could nibble on it a little bit and then put it away. But yeah, we're every store is locally owned and operated, allowing for a dedicated point of contact to really make sure people are taken care of. And that's a lot of what I end up doing, right? That we get a lot of people that reach out to us in terms of having events and looking for support for those events. Usually the ask that comes in is for donations, right? That people want, they want us to write a check. They want us to give them free cookies. They want us to build them a raffle basket. And I would argue that almost anybody who's been in business has been on the receiving end of that experience. Where I was able to bring something unique to the business model, again, above and beyond the sort of franchise playbook, is the notion of really getting into relationship building. Much like this group itself, I won't bury the lead. That to me is the secret sauce, and what makes it different is the personalization and actually building relationships inside your community, going out and forming direct relationships with the individuals and entities that we serve. So our slogan as a company is, that we bring friends and family together over a box of the best cookies in the world. Crumbl has a good brand reputation and brand awareness out there. I don't think we're at, McDonald's levels in terms of truly being a household name across the board, but I really do run into most people that I talk to have at least heard of us, if not, tried it. But what's interesting is that Crumbl Corporate doesn't allow us to, as individual store locations, have control over our marketing presence, for example. And again, as I understand it, that's not unique to Crumbl as a franchise. That's a typical part of the model. And it raises that interesting question where if you're looking to grow, if in any way you want to move the needle and make improvements on the status quo, how do you do that if you're not able to market online, right? Directly yourselves, right? We set a goal for ourselves that in 2024, we will increase our average number of cookies sold each week by 50%. And the ways that we are doing that are split up between promoting the use of our cookies as thank you gifts, both in the consumer and professional space. Obviously, online and social reviews still help, even without us controlling, like I said, the sort of local presence in any way online. People do local searches, right? People can go to just Google still and cookies near me or any number of things where we always still want to be on top for any organic searches that are taking place. So certainly, sharing things from the official Crumbl is always going to be helpful. Catering events, again, is looking at whether it's grad parties and weddings and things in the consumer space, or, you know, retirement parties, holiday gatherings, employee appreciation sort of events, things like that on the company side. The offsite sales and the fundraising piece are the newest ingredients, and the ones that, again, really are coming from corporate. The in-store dime to donate model exists. A lot of places do that. One way that we do it a little differently is, instead of like a 2-hour window that you sort of see at a lot of places, we'll do an entire day from open to close. We're open from 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. Monday through Saturday, closed every Sunday, and then brand new menu starts on, you know, every Monday, and off it goes. In terms of the offsite sales, you know, I mentioned the idea of groups leveraging our cookies for their benefit. But I'm also interested in opportunities where we set up our own table, we staff the event, we sell our cookies directly. That is something that Crumbl Corporate is now very recently, since I started facilitating, in terms of letting us take our like point of sale systems and things like that offsite. But those sort of opportunities are definitely, I think, a great way to check off a few boxes simultaneously in terms of, you know, we measure, like I did an event, a Christmas in July event in Strongsville this last weekend. It was a $60 table, right? So that wasn't a massive investment. It was, you know, 5-hour event. I mean, there was the time investment, certainly. We sold a little under 60 cookies, which is about, you know, $300 profit. And, you know, when you look at the $60, you know, for the table, when you look at staffing, we still made a little bit of money. Any way you slice it, we made money at that event. But we also successfully created brand awareness. It's like, most people end up having to pay a lot of money for marketing. And the sort of magic secret sauce here is that the notion of going, well, how do we check off these boxes of top of mind awareness and brand visibility and all of those things that come with good marketing, while also really driving direct revenue in a measurable way. And so these offsite sales, these fundraising efforts, have been a way to do that. And part of it just happens organically, that I live in these communities. You know, I've lived in Northeast Ohio my whole life, and graduated from Bay High in 2000. I live in Avon Lake now. You know, yeah, so I'm plugged into those areas, and yeah, I sort of lost my train of thought there, to be honest. But on the gift side, I touched on some of the scenarios where, you know, sales calls. Boy, you know, I've joked around with people that that's been a light bulb moment for me too, as somebody who's been in sales as long as I have, is I've always found the idea of cold calling, especially in person, to be like, boy, do I not want to do that. You know, some people have thicker skin in terms of like having doors either literally or proverbially slammed in their face. But there's some real power in walking in with that pink cookie box in my hands. And what I notice as the pattern, and I've walked through now, you know, thousands of doors with these boxes, people's eyes light up. And they get excited, and they're sort of joking, they think, with me, going, did you bring me a treat? And then when they realize that it is for them, they go wild. They go wild, and then they want to help me. And I explain, you know, yeah, I'm trying to, in the case of schools or other places, it's like, yeah, I'm trying to make sure that we're on your radar as a good partner for any groups that are trying to raise funds for worthy causes, you know. So again, good introductions for this sort of thing certainly can come from family and friends, from neighbors, from fellow business owners and salespeople. That's obviously the power of the sort of networking that we do, is this notion that in our professional space, we have these spheres that we come in contact with. And in our personal lives, we have these spheres that we come in contact with. And the more that we understand each other as human beings, come to have familiarity and confidence and respect and trust for each other, and understanding of what everybody specializes in and how we can help the people that we serve. That referral magic is a beautiful thing. And I think, again, when you talk about the headline for this presentation, the notion of moving away from the simple corporate playbook, or whether it's corporate or not, it's been an interesting thing. I spent a lot of time as a marketing consultant, while ironically not getting my leads from the web, right? That there are businesses where strategy A, B or C, Google ads, or, building a blog, site or whatever. Different approaches work for different groups. But I think above all of that, in an increasingly technological world, for all the advantages that technology provides, I think that I've had the experiences and success I have by not losing sight of individual personalized connections as being where it's at. And, even in the marketing space, that top of mind awareness headline, right? You go back 100 years, there were still billboards, I don't know that there were fridge magnets. Let's go back 50 years, shall we? Billboards, fridge magnets, branded pens, you know what I mean? And branded products and things like that. And why do those still exist? Is because top of mind awareness is part of it. That the more often somebody's coming in contact with your brand, with your name, seeing it, hearing about it is really powerful, So, but yeah, I like the notion that in really targeting these direct sales opportunities that have tangible revenue benefit to our organization, I'm also checking off all these other boxes as it relates to still marketing in more of a grassroots way. So even in a technology-driven world, even with a turnkey franchise operation, good old-fashioned grassroots marketing techniques and interpersonal communication is what's driving the needle. How about that? I mentioned Dine to Donate, concession sales, table sales at events. The pre-sale option I'll expand upon briefly. That was the train-a-thon I started earlier, right? Was going, oh yeah, I arrived at some of these ideas organically because I'm a parent. I started off saying, I've been part of the community, but I also do have kids that have been involved in activities, and whether you yourself have a family or not, I dare say all of us have been on the receiving end of an ask that has come from someone in our network who is doing some sort of fundraising effort. And not to knock any of the methods that exist, because obviously people use them because they're effective. But some of the feedback that I've gotten, which is interesting, is when you compare a cookie fundraiser to Super Bowl squares or a 50-50 raffle, for example, or something like that. I had a customer say to me once, the nice thing with this fundraiser is that everybody was a winner. And I was like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Right? That I've done 50-50 raffles, because you sit there and go, yeah, it would be awesome if they happen to pull my name. But for a lot of people, it's just about supporting whatever the cause is, frankly, whether it's, a raffle or cookies. But a lot of people do like cookies. It's a fairly universal language. And our cookies, like I said, in particular, are these gorgeous presentational, visual masterpieces, and tasty, for that matter. So referrals on the fundraising side, I did definitely singled out schools, and I'm saying this in a referral sense, but obviously not everybody who's watching this is looking to send me stuff, right? But I'm mentioning this in terms of going, these are the audiences that I'm going after. So to the extent that whoever is listening has a similar audience, part of the philosophy of groups like this and my attitude is that there is more to be gained in sharing and being transparent and realizing that there's more than enough out there for all of us, instead of keeping everything close to the vest like that. So school administrators, athletic directors, PTA parents, involved parents, right? It's like, we all know people that are constantly driving, one kid or another around to activity A, B, and C, have kids involved in 2 or 3 different things. And then anybody who's involved in charitable organizations. So even if the, people aren't, the involved parents in question may not have raised their hand to volunteer to also run the fundraising committee, but they know who is, right? It's 1 degree of separation from the people you want a warm introduction to. Off-site sales opportunities. Sports complexes, county fairs, swap meets. The one I went to the other day was like a craft show, that Christmas in July one, a bunch of different vendors that had their specialty wares. And the people had invited us out to it. And they're like, we think your cookies count as, they're craftsmen enough. And I was like, okay, I'm into it. And indeed, both the customers and the fellow vendors were thrilled to have us. But I'm gonna, I want to be respectful to time and make sure I'm leaving room for any questions and feedback. But I'm gonna just look and make sure I'm not missing anything in the thing I put together.
You're doing good.
Oh, look at that! We have arrived at the thank you page. So I'm gonna stop sharing and see what sort of questions, if any, come to mind.
All right, Brian. Well, thank you very much. I'm not sure for the rest of you, but I'm definitely hungry after that. So I'm a huge fan of Crumbl cookies. There's so many varieties. So some of the things that came to mind, in my visits to Crumbl, some cookies seem to be best served warm or some are chilled. Are all cookie types available for like fundraising, or do you recommend certain types?
Thanks. Great question, Kent. I absolutely will steer people a little bit during the conversation, right? That I have a bit of a cookie crystal ball that if somebody tells me, as I have, a date on the calendar next to me, August 22nd, Highland Football and Cheer is doing a pre-order event. I was only able to tell them on Monday what my suggested flavors would be, that I can look ahead a little bit. But yeah, if I have something that is sort of time or temperature sensitive like that, I tend to caution them against it in terms of how long it might be sitting, how long it might wait to get to the intended recipients. Even the ones that are served up, just as a consumer though, Kent, the ones that are served chilled, I will buy a box and I'll put it on my stove, and the chilled cookies, at room temperature are still amazing. But of course, on both sides of the equation, like if you get one that is still warm, it's extra amazing, right? And if it's designed to be served chilled, you certainly want people to have the best version of the experience. So yeah, whenever I see what my available options are for a given date, I talk through it with them and we try to arrive at what makes the most sense, for the event.
All right, fantastic. Well, again, I've got a few more questions here, but if anyone else has some questions, please post them in the chat window through there, and we'll get to all of those. But in the meantime, how many flavors of cookies are available to choose for fundraising?
I typically give them a list of maybe 9 or 10 to choose from, and then they're going, okay, I want these 4 for the 4-pack and these 6 for the 6-pack. That's what most people end up doing for the pre-order fundraisers. If it's a concession scenario, that's a little bit more on the fly. Like I've been dropping off a few hundred cookies at Crusher's Stadium every Friday. They always want a chocolate chip. We're doing a custom purple version of the pink sugar to match their uniforms colors. And then the third flavor ends up being different every week based on what's going on. I'm bringing them this. I think the strawberry cupcake is what I'm bringing them as the third flavor this week, because that's the one that made some sense. Yeah, But overall, there's hundreds of flavors that exist. And if somebody had a very specific one in mind, or if it was suited to the occasion, like I've had an idea in my head that I haven't gotten to try yet, to do like a candy bar one for Halloween, because I've seen the big menu and we have like a Butterfinger, like official, right? Official Butterfinger, Almond Joy, Twix, like with the actual candy bars. So I want somebody to do like an all candy bar themed one, even though they won't all be on the menu that week. It's just too perfect, right? Al,
great.
I saw a question pop up asking if if there's one that's too small. No. What I always say in my initial pitch meeting to people, which they love and tell me no one else does it this way, is there is no minimum you have to hit, and there is no money that I'm collecting from you up front. Ultimately, no money out of their pocket at all. The way that it works is they have this window of time, like, you know, I'll use that same example. The one that's coming up on August 22nd, we confirmed the flavors at the beginning of this week. They put their flyer together. They're promoting that flyer via email, you know, putting it up on the wall of you know, buildings, whatever it is that they're doing. It's got their Venmo information. They're collecting the money directly. And if they come back and they go, we sold 6 boxes. Okay, I'll go bake them and drop them off. And we tried, right? I've never had that happen, but you know, on the low end, I've seen people come back at maybe like 40 or 50 and make a few $100s. On the high end, I've had a group sell in the neighborhood of, you know, 200. I remember that the total number of cookies was like 1,246. You know what I mean? And they made a few $1,000s in like 10 days, you know, of selling. So no, there's no minimum that they have to hit, and no money up front. I just send them a bill for our portion of what they already collected.
All right. So I've helped our kids' schools with a concession stand. And I know, you know, typically the concession stand is going to run over a full season for a given sport for any of the home games. So if we wanted to use cookies for concession stand, will they keep like in the refrigerator or freezer between the events, or do you recommend how long would we keep them for and just refresh them multiple times throughout that sport season?
Perfect. Yep, absolutely. So on the concession side, what I always say is, like, unlike the pre-order, there is some guesswork involved, right? That the quantity, you're guessing a little bit, right? And the two things I always say there are, indeed, they absolutely freeze well, especially things like the pink sugar and the chocolate chip. So once again, it's a situation where I wouldn't recommend a cookie that didn't freeze well. But they absolutely freeze well so if you order, you know, 50 or 100 and you've got, you know, 10 or 20 left over, put them in the freezer till the next game, no problem. And the other thing that I've told people is I would never leave somebody in a bad spot. Again, I've been lucky that it's never come up so far. People do sell out of their cookies. But the reality is that, just to put it that way, I wouldn't leave somebody in a bad spot. If they were coming to me at the end of the season going, oh no, you know what I mean? Like I have 40 leftovers and I don't have another opportunity, I wouldn't charge them for the remaining balance, and I would, you know, go out and take them out as my marketing cookies, you know what I mean? And go, you know, make a new friend. So how much time in advance do we have to contact you for a fundraiser? To contact me at all, let's call it 4 weeks, only because I feel like the ideal selling window for the organization is really only about, you know, 2 or 3, you know. So to give me somebody could call me today, and if they had something anywhere from 3 weeks to beyond, I'd be ready for them immediately, you know. I don't know. Yeah. So I need a couple weeks notice, I suppose, for the pre-order fundraisers, less because I need the notice, more because in my mind, if they're going to be successful, the group needs a couple weeks to get that information out there. On the concession stand side, you know, that sort of bake sale table, I don't need any notice. If somebody told me that they needed 500 cookies, you know, tonight at 10 o'clock. I guess a couple hours, maybe, you know what I mean? But I am a partner at 6 stores. I would make it happen. One way or another, I would make it happen.
All right. I think she's ready to contact you now. On that. So if people do want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to reach out and make contact for a fundraiser or an event like this?
Thanks. You know, visiting any of my 6 stores, they would just send you, you know, to me. But my contact info, my direct contact info is I've got neocrumbl, right, for Northeast Ohio, neocrumbl, CRUMBL, no E like there is in the real word crumble. neocrumbl@gmail.com is the email address I use. And I give out the Google Voice phone number that goes right to my cell, you know, which is 440-701-6516. That does go right to my cell. And normally at the point that I'm like actually talking to anybody, I give them my cell anyway. But I don't know. I'm just weird somehow about like, I like that first little barrier. You know what I mean? Of the Google Voice phone number. And then in theory, you know, not to digress too much, but with any organization I've ever worked with, just like I was saying about being transparent about this information, I never want anybody to feel like there's that single point of failure term, right? That says like, hey, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, you know what I mean? Somebody else can take over that phone number, you know, like somebody else can take over that email. You just always try to, even for your own benefit, say, hey, as we grow and expand and my role evolves, you know what I mean? Like, let's have that phone number be a little more neutral. So anyway, yeah. 440-601-6516.
And we'll post that contact information in the YouTube description as well for anyone that watches this after the event so they can get in touch with you. So, cool. Well, Brian, it's been super informative. I appreciate your time and the information, and looking forward to my next order of Crumbl cookies as well. Would like to tell you all about next month's event here at the Buckeye Business Builders Lunch and Learn. So join us on September 5th to hear Al Stacy with KLT Insurance discuss how the insurance market has changed in the last year and moving forward. You can register for that event on our website at ebbng.org. So appreciate your time. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.